Hello everyone, so it is time for the November monthly reading wrap-up and TBR for December, and I have decided to lovingly entitle this wrap-up the very comic bookish November wrap-up, because in terms of finishing the 3 actual novels that I started, which were War of the Flowers, Changeless, and The Girl Who Played with Fire, I epically failed. I did not finish any of those. However, I did finish several comics, so that's what we're going to talk about today, and I thought since I was talking about comics that I should, have Iron Man join me today.
Being an Avenger is more fun than it looks.
Yeah! First comic that I finished, which was actually on my November TBR, was Volume 1 of Mind the Gap, which collects the first 6 comics of the Mind the Gap series. It's a very complicated sort of story in which a woman is found beaten in a subway station in New York, and she thus goes into a coma, and she ends up in this sort of in-between world where a lot of coma patients reside and are sort of just in this in-between state. And while she's in that state, her friends and her boyfriend and her family members are, of course, in the outside world dealing with a lot of craziness, their relationships with each other, as well as dealing with who has committed this act of violence, and you're not sure if any one of them has actually tried to kill this poor woman, or if they have hired someone to do it, or any of that stuff. So it's a big sort of mystery on what's going on in Mind the Gap, and I'm really intrigued to see where this is going, because there was a little tiny reveal at the end of Volume 1 on sort of an inkling of what was going on, but there's still a lot of secrets. I'm anxious to read Volume 2 because I did still really enjoy Volume 1, but I may have to wait to purchase Volume 2 just because, well, you'll see why. Next volume of comics I read was the first Sandman volume, which is Preludes and Nocturnes. I am holding up this book, but I didn't actually read this physical book because there was an epic sale on Comixology, which is a place that sells digital comics, and they had an epic Sandman sale on like everything Sandman related on there, and me and my mom decided to get every Sandman of the original 10 volumes digitally, because we have not yet read the last 4 volumes, because it's one of those things where you go to the bookstore or wherever they sell comics and they have every volume but the volume you need. And since they had the sale, I think they were about $5 or $6, so we could get like all 10 for really inexpensively, and so we thought, let's take this epic opportunity and buy all 10. So thus I am reading the whole series from beginning to end, and I'm really excited to read the last 4 because I haven't read them yet, and I love me some Sandman. In Comixology, you can actually make the panels larger, so I had a lot of fun just like making the panels larger and seeing the extra detail of the artwork in Sandman, which was quite fun. It also so happened to be the final book that completed my Goodreads challenge, which I signed up to read 35 books this year. So from now on, I'm 100% done. I could just get to like past 100%, which is always kind of fun. The last group of comics that I finished were the 5 issues of the Edge of SpiderVerse miniseries. I'm not great at explaining what Edge of SpiderVerse is about, but basically there's like this epic event going on with Spider-Man, and it's called SpiderVerse from what I can grasp, and there's going to be a basic epic villain thing that requires all the Spider-Men and Spider-Women and Spider-whatevers to join together and join forces and sort of fight this villain. And so this sort of introduced some of the spider people that are going to be in that. So for example, one story is on a different version of Earth in which Gwen Stacy gets bitten by the spider, and she is thus Spider-Woman, and there's Spider-Man Noir, which takes place in the 30s, and what that's like, and there's just all sorts of different things. So this is 5 issues. You can get this in a collected edition, but I just bought the separate editions because they had yet another epic sale on Comixology, and I could just get, you know, all of them for 99 cents, and I was like, heck yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'll probably, because I really enjoyed this, go and look up some of the main issues that you're supposed to get for the entire SpiderVerse run and event as well, probably eventually, but I'm probably gonna have to wait, obviously, because on some things, because me and my mom have gone a little bit comic book crazy on the sales, and I'm trying to not go as crazy with the shopping for comics. On to my to be read. What I should be doing is trying to read as many of the books that I listed on my to be read for the 2015. I can leave you a link to that video, but I made a video that was just basically a short book list. Now, there are a lot of books left, but I've decided to narrow it down to a few books, if I finish the books I'm currently reading, that I definitely want to read. Now, I was supposed to, as my must-read book of the year, read Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, and I still want to read Northanger Abbey. I did start it in ebook form, and I just decided that I don't like to read classics as ebooks. I just like to read them in, you know, hard copy. And they released in November this fabulous box set of all of Jane Austen's works, and I really want to save up and buy that. So I think I'm going to roll the Northanger Abbey thing over to next year, because I really wanted to get it in hard copy and read it and get that box set, which is just beautiful. Oh, dude, I want it so bad. I am, in the month of December, going to definitely jump right into The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest right after I finish The Girl Who Played with Fire, so that I can at least finish the Millennium series, because I've read both The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and The Girl Who Played with Fire twice, but I have not yet read The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, so I definitely want to complete, you know, the main trilogy. And I'm also going to possibly pick up Misery by Stephen King. If you do watch my to be read of 2015, there is the eternal debate on whether I've actually read this book or not, because I literally cannot remember if I read it, and I haven't been able to remember for several years, and it's driving me freaking crazy. The confusion really comes from, I know that I watched the movie, I know that I read the screenplay, thus I feel like I know the story really well, which makes me really confused. I know that I must have started this book, because I underlined stuff on the first page, so I must have started it, but for the life of me, I do not know if I finished it, and I'm definitely going to read it this year so that this issue can be solved and I'll know that I read it, and then I won't ever have to wonder about it again. I'm definitely going to read book 2 of the Sandman series in my digital copy. I also bought the spin-off from the Edge of Spider-Verse comics, which was Spider-Gwen, so I think I got 5 issues of that as well. And so I'm looking forward to reading Spider-Gwen. I think I might pick up this book, The Dark Life by Kat Falls. This is a book that I found when I moved, and it's been on my shelf for several years, and I'm really intrigued by the summary. It's basically about the world where the continents of Earth have sort of shattered because of earthquakes, and thus people either have to live in like stag towns or they have to live underwater. And that just intrigues me. That sounds like an interesting world. So I'm definitely going to see if I can pick this up, if I have time to read it, because it has been on my shelf forever. And if I don't finish it this month, it'll definitely be on January's to be read list. So quite a few books on my to be read list for December. That is it, I think. I think that's it. Thank you for watching, and say bye to Iron Man.
Cutie beam activate.
Okay, I'm just a cornball now. But bye!